the room in Cheney Hall with me this evening are our fabulous Associate Director, Maria D'Agostino Crawford, class of 91, and our Assistant Director, Jasmine Chapman, grad class of 17. And these ladies are very largely responsible for bringing you this wonderful festivity this evening. So where you are, give them a round of applause, please. We want everybody to know that we are recording this evening's program, so just be aware of that. That's important for you to know. And without further ado, we are going to turn this over to our fabulous chefs, head chef Eric and his sous chef Kamar. So let the cooking begin.
All right. Hello, everybody. How are we doing? This is weird, like talking to a camera. Well, I am Chef Eric. I hope everybody's ready to do some cooking. We're going to be cooking a little bit of Spanish cuisine tonight for Valentine's Day. Obviously, Valentine's was a couple days ago, but it's okay. You can celebrate a couple days late. So let's dive right in to the first course, which is called Salmorejo. Apologies, I'm probably butchering pronunciation on that. Salmonejo is a Spanish variation of Gazpacho. It's a type of Gazpacho that you take leftover bread and you mix it with tomatoes and garlic and onions, and you make a really nice broth out of it. And it's served room temperature. You don't heat it up or anything like that. So we're gonna move right into that. Got my trusty blender. So everybody should have gotten the recipe. And we're gonna take the red bell peppers, which I have covered up over here. We're gonna take our tomatoes, our onions, oh, look at that, it's on the screen, that's cool. And our garlic. And we're gonna start with the first step, which is in our food processor. If you don't have a food processor or a blender, you can use a Roku. You can use immersion blender. There's a lot of different things you can use if you don't have this particular item. So we're gonna take a third. Now, the reason the recipe says a third of the peppers, tomatoes, garlic, onion is because if your blender's not big enough, you might not be able to do it all in one step. So luckily my mixer or my blender is big enough. So make sure it's in there correctly. So we're going to be able to do it all together, at least mostly together. So we're going to start with our third of a cup of tomatoes. I'm just kind of eyeballing here. I basically have the full measurements already here. Third of a cup of onion. Garlic. I'm gonna do one of these if that's okay. If only we had like some background music, it'd be great, like rock and roll or something. Like some peppers. And I'm sure everybody probably had to do all this knife work themselves. It took me about an hour or so to get this dish prepped up and ready. Let's see, what else am I forget? Oh, and the bread. So for the bread for this, you can use any kind of crusty loaf. What they do in Spain is they take leftover bread from the day before and they'll use that. And obviously when you do this, you want to use really fresh tomatoes and really fresh garlic and really fresh peppers, and the fresher the better. You don't want to use canned anything in this. It kind of just cheapens it. Put our first measurement of bread in there. And basically, we're just going to put everything in a blender. Do our tablespoon. Oh, no, sorry, we don't do the oil yet. And our tomato juice. Am I allowed to say Campbell's on the Campbell's tomato juice, everybody? Healthy for you, at least. So we're going to measure out a cup, which is 8 ounces. And we're going to put half of it in there. A little more than half. Pinch of salt, because when you cook, you should always add salt. It makes everything taste that much better. And we're going to turn it on. It's going to get loud, but all right, so we have a nice pureed beginning of a soup here. Obviously, I didn't put in the paprika or the sherry or any of the other ingredients that are on the recipe, but we'll add those in after. So that's our beginning little mixture. And now we're just gonna, the recipe was worded a little odd. For any confusion, we're just gonna add the rest of the ingredients into the blender and just keep blending through. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put the remaining bread. It's on my table over here somewhere. Tomatoes. Got our onions. Now you can put your splash of vinegar. You don't have to necessarily use sherry vinegar. I just recommend sherry vinegar because it's the type of vinegar they would use if you were in Spain. But you can do champagne vinegar, you can do apple cider vinegar. Just you don't want to put too much of it. Literally like a splash, just eyeballing it. Also, the acid in it will kind of help keep the color of it, which is nice because if you use some really fresh tomatoes, get some really nice color. And now we're going to add our pimenton or our paprika. I have sweet pimenton and I have smoked, a little spicy pimenton. Pimenton is very, very, very popular in Spanish cuisine. You get like smoky flavors and nice pepper flavor, and it's just it's great for something like this because it goes really well with the fresh tomato and the garlic and the onion. So put our pimenton in there, adding let's see, and then our 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and the olive oil will give it a real nice color too. And for this, you don't want to use a cheap olive oil. And no avocado oil, okay? This isn't eating with Rachel Ray. Where's my lid? There we go. And we're gonna blend it. Oh, sorry, I forgot my tomato juice. Without the liquid in there, it won't blend. It'll just be blending away. So we have a nice pureed soup here. And what we're gonna do is just mix it together. It's really, really easy. You just kind of mix everything in a bowl together. And get my trusty spatula over here. And we're just gonna make it one mixture. See, everything is nicely pureed together. Got that lovely color of the tomatoes, the pimenton that's in there. Everything looks great. Now, ideally, you would take this and chill it in the refrigerator for, you could do an hour, 30 minutes would even be fine. But you just want to chill it just for a little bit because it is a cold soup, and you do want to eat it cold to room temperature. But yeah, that's essentially the soup. Let me show you a plated version. And this recipe right here is enough for 2 people. It's actually probably enough for more than 2 people. And this right here is the finished product. I made a little bit of crema, and what a crema is basically just a loose sour cream. It's very popular in Mexico. And if you can't go to the store and find crema, you can take some sour cream, mix it with a little bit of milk in a blender or with a whisk, and just make a loose crema. I put a little dot right in the center, drag the toothpick through it. So if you actually, I don't know if we can get a close up on this, but if you see close enough, it almost looks like a heart, which is kind of Valentine's-y. And then parsley, because everywhere you go in Spain, they garnish with parsley. So let's do that real quick. Yeah, that is the appetizer. So if anybody has any questions, I could definitely open it up to questions. Well, you can have the electric back. Any questions? Anybody have any? As we get ready here for the entree, which is a special dish to me. It's actually the same dish I used when I applied for the position here at Springfield College. The same dish I used to, they call it bench testing. It's like an industry term. It basically means just like see if you can cook or not. So that's the same exact dish. So we're gonna move into that in a minute. Just put this over here. Question. I'm ready for question. Oh, hang on.
Can you serve the soup hot?
You definitely could. The only concern with serving it hot is that the oil would run out of it for sure, like it would separate. And you would also keep in mind that I put all raw ingredients in here. Traditionally, when you serve hot soup, you cook everything. And then if it was like a tomato basil or like a cream of tomato soup, you would cook everything together and then blend it. So we kind of skipped that cooking step, which is pretty much the difference between a gazpacho and like a tomato soup. So you could serve it warm. If I were you, I would cook everything together first and then blend it. And that would be more of a tomato soup. It wouldn't be a gazpacho because the gazpacho is a cold soup. So yeah, hope that answers your question. Yeah. Any more questions, anybody? Before we move on to the entree.
A couple of our viewers are wondering how recipes like this are incorporated into Chini Hall and what our students eat.
Okay, that's an interesting question. I wasn't expecting one like that. Well, the recipes that the students eat, they're from a menu system that the college uses, and the chefs in the college, the chefs in the company will create these dishes themselves and get them put into that system. So these dishes don't necessarily, like the ones I'm doing, won't necessarily be served in the cafe. But if I wanted to, I could take the steps and get these dishes properly published so they could be served in the cafe. We also do something now in the dining hall called pop-up events. And it's basically a way for the chefs that are working to, show some talent and just do fun dishes that wouldn't normally be served in the dining hall. So this would be something more served for a pop-up event, for sure. But we do serve tomato soup here, which is okay. I make it, it's better. Okay. Should I keep these here for a little bit? Any other questions?
2 other quick questions. What kind of baking dish for the chicken should they
Kind
be
of
using?
Baking dish. I will, when we get, I can talk about it when we get there, if that helps. But anything that's oven safe, really. You could use a metal sheet pan, you could use a casserole pan. The traditional way of doing it is actually putting the same frying pan that you cook the chicken on into the oven. That's actually the way I learned how to do it. You just got to make sure it's an all metal pan, no plastic or anything like that. But just pretty much any oven safe pan would work. Yeah.
And the other question was, can you leave out the bread?
You could. And that's the difference between, I should have, that's a great question. Great question, you, whoever that person is. That's the difference between a Salmorejo and a Gazpacho. A Gazpacho is basically all the ingredients we did minus maybe the Pimento and the bread. And again, that's really the main difference. So yeah, you could omit the bread and it would just be a Gazpacho. But that's no fun, right? So any other questions? I can maybe do one more question and then we got to move on to the entree. We're good? Okay, moving on. Okay, let me get these out of the way. Okay, moving on to chicken al pimientos. I can pronounce that one a lot better. And everybody also looks on your screen. We have a QR code that you can sign up to. Do you sign up to a QR code? You look up with your phone, I guess. I don't know much about technology. I'm sorry. I still have a typewriter at home. But you can look it up with your phone and you can post the dishes that you made. And yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. I hope everybody does it because I'd be very, very happy to see people's dishes looking like mine. All right, so we have a burner. I'm doing this in a nonstick pan. You don't have to use a nonstick pan. I will say it makes life a lot easier, but if you don't have a nonstick pan at home, you can use any saute pan as long as it's hot. It needs to be hot. So we're gonna get this cranking now. Gonna get our chicken. One of these. I love this recipe. This is just a great chicken dish. It's originally, a little history about the dish. It originally comes from the Italian dish chicken scarpello, which is essentially just sauteed chicken in white wine sauce. So it's loosely based on that with some Spanish variations kind of mixed into it. All right, so we got pan heating up. It's going to take a little bit. So we'll talk about the chicken. For this, I took whole chickens and I broke them down into 2 pieces. So we have a breast and a thigh and a leg, and they're bone in. I like bone in because you get a lot more flavor through the bone. But I took the rest of the chicken carcasses because I started off with 3 chickens, and I made a nice stock out of it because, as you can see in this recipe, you need chicken broth or chicken stock to make the dish, and you can't beat a bone broth. I mean, I know like Emeril Lagasse has like his own type of chicken broth you could buy at the store, and I'm sure it's delicious, but it won't be nearly as delicious as a bone broth that you roast and make yourself. So that's what I have over here in this lovely pan. Okay, so you're gonna take your chicken halves and you're gonna season them up. if you don't want to use chicken halves, you can do chicken breast, you can do chicken thighs. You can do pretty much any chicken that has skin on. I recommend using skin on chicken because you get that nice crispy skin, and that's really what you want with a dish like this. So we're gonna put salt and pepper on the inside of the chicken. I don't want to put it on the outside because I just want that really nice golden skin, and I don't want any pepper flakes on there, and it's just looks good. Now, protein or chicken is one of those things you can heavily season. Don't worry about, not putting, only a little bit of salt. You want to put a pretty good amount because it can hold the seasoning. So, pan is getting there. So chicken is ready to go in the pan, but pan is not there yet. So we talk about the potatoes, which is the next step of the dish. Change my gloves because we don't want to kill people with salmonella. That would be very bad. How's everybody doing at home? Good? Don't burn that chicken. I can see you. Okay. On a different cutting board, we should have done the chicken on the red, but that's fine. We have this potato. For the potato, you can use any kind of potato you want. I like to use creamer potatoes or gold potatoes. They're really creamy, and when you cook them, they hold together nicely, and just a real good potato. So you're gonna take these and slice them like so. Kind of like discs almost. When I did this dish for my stage or my bench test, I salt bake them. So with salt baking, you essentially take a lot of salt and you cover the potatoes in salt and you put them in the oven for about an hour, and the salt will heat up and it'll cook whatever's inside it. I didn't want to do that for this demo because I wasn't sure if everybody at home was going to buy an enormous amount of salt and then throw it all away or whatever. It just seemed wasteful to me. So we have our potato discs, and what you can do with these is you can take another pan and you can put a little bit of oil in them, and you can get them nice and crispy. Cook them maybe 3-4 minutes each side till they're nice and crispy on both sides, and then you can stick them in the oven for 10 minutes or so until they're nice and crispy and they're done. So this is what the potatoes should look like before they go into the pan. Put that right there. And then the finished product of the potatoes look like this. And you get nice, crispy little discs. You see the color change from cooking them. That's the potato raw, that's the potato cooked. Nice, crispy potato. And that'll be on the bottom of the dish because this is a one pan kind of dish, and the potatoes will soak up all the sauce and all the chicken drippings, and it'll be great. I love it. If you don't love it, I apologize. All right, so seems hot enough. Turn it up a little more. Now, to tell if your pan's hot enough, because obviously I'm sure not everybody at home is like, oh man, how's he touching that pan? It's hot. When you put the oil in there, you should see the pan start to smoke a little bit. You don't want black smoke. Black smoke is bad. But just a little bit of smoke, and that's kind of how you tell if it's hot enough. So we're gonna roll it around. See a little bit of smoke coming up. So get your chickens ready. Chickens on deck, go in the pan. And again, like I said, this is a one pan kind of meal with the exception of the potatoes, because you can cook the chicken and the sauce in the same pan. And the advantage of that is you get a lot more flavor in the sauce. Like I said, we made a chicken broth from the bones of the chicken. So you already get a nice, rich, chickeny flavor from the broth. And then when you combine that with all the flavorings from searing a chicken in a pan, it's just heaven. Okay. So we're gonna see if this is hot enough. When you put something in a pan, you always want to put it away from you, because if you put it in towards you, you spray oil on yourself, and nobody wants to do that. So I see we have a question, so I can take a question while this pan's heating up. That's fine.
How long do the potatoes cook in the oven?
I think I said that. It should be 5-10 minutes or so, depending on how strong your oven is, but 350, 375 in the oven should take about 10 minutes or so. It really depends on how crunchy you like your potato. I like my potato with a little bit of chew to it, because when you put the hot chicken on top of the potato and you put the sauce over the chicken, which again goes over the potato, you know, those little things will kind of help the potato cook a little bit longer. There's also something in cooking called carryover cooking, which basically means when you take something out of the oven, it'll keep cooking a little longer. So, you know, cook it to basically however you like potatoes cooked, but 5 or 10 minutes should be fine. All right, pan is starting to smoke a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and drop this saute. So we're gonna start breast side down. Make sure your skin is nice and flat. Okay, flatten it out, fold the thigh over. And then on the other side of the pan, same thing. Okay, gonna disinfect my hands because chicken is bad. Turn it up just a little bit. And what we're looking for is a nice sear on the skin. And in order to get a nice sear, you really have to make sure the pan's hot, like I said. So we're gonna keep this in here with the oil and probably 2-3 minutes or so, check it to see how it's doing. But what we're looking for is a nice golden skin. And when the skin's nice and golden, we can take it and put it into the oven at that point. And then start our sauce, which again will be in the same pan. Anybody have any questions while we're before we get to that point? Move it along here. No? Don't burn that chicken. I've definitely set the fire alarm off a few times in my house doing this. So as you have the chicken in the pan, you'll see it starts to tighten up a little bit, and that's, you know, that's what proteins do. Excuse me. Let's flip it over. You see that nice golden skin starting to come out. You don't want to move it around too much. Just want to kind of let it be. It's nice and relaxed now. Chicken had a good life. Now it's gonna be eaten later. So now we got this nice skin. See that? Nice color on there. Another minute or so, and then we'll pop it into the oven and start the sauce. All right, let's take a look at that skin. Let's see how we're doing. So that's the color you want. Now notice I'm trying my best not to sear the other side of the chicken. I just don't want all that extra fat and juices in the pan. But that's basically what you're looking for color on the skin. So we're gonna lower this down. Take the chicken out. And put the chicken flat into the pan and stick it in the oven like that. Okay. And my behind the scenes chef will put this in the oven for us because there's no oven nearby, unfortunately. So while that chicken is cooking in the oven, should take about 15 minutes or so, 15-20 minutes to cook in the oven. So we can work on our sauce. So it may be hard to see because of the camera and the lighting in here, but there's like little beads, little pits of, little pieces of chicken skin and fat in this pan, and that's called fond. So what we want to do now is take some garlic, give it just a light saute with the oil that still remains in the pan. And when you do this, you want to move it around a lot so it doesn't burn on you, because who likes burnt garlic? Nobody. Turn it up a little bit. Oh, fire one out. And we're just looking to toast this lightly. Move it around a lot, make sure it doesn't stick or it doesn't burn. Okay, nice toasted garlic, getting there, getting there. So garlic's starting to toast up. We don't want to wait until it's fully toasted because, as you'll see, this is a long cooking process and it's going to cook while it's in the pan. So, all right, now we deglaze with white wine for cooking with, not for drinking, unfortunately. I put a little more white wine than what the recipe said. Don't worry about getting drunk when you eat this, even though it's Valentine's Day and you probably want to. But the alcohol will cook off and you don't have to worry about catching a buzz from this. But now we're going to reduce this down until it gets kind of syrupy almost. You don't want to reduce it down until it's gone all the way because then your pan will burn. But we're going to reduce it down for a couple of minutes just until it's almost gone and it's like kind of syrupy, because that's what we want. Every step that we do with this sauce, we need to make sure that we season along the way. This is one of those things that I learned being a chef working in Boston. I worked with this really cool chef named Christopher Lee. You can actually look him up. He's very well known. And he taught me that when you're cooking anything, especially something like this, you want to constantly be adding salt, pepper, salt, pepper, salt, pepper when you add new components to the dish. And that's how you build flavor, because every new ingredient you add salt to it, pepper, and that brings out the natural flavor of whatever you just added to it. So that's how you just build that level of flavor. So salt, pepper, a little pinch, and then here we are, reducing sauce. This will take another minute or so I can take a question if somebody has one. Chicken is cooking right now. It's in the oven. We have our oven set to about 450 or so. I'm sure your at-home ovens, maybe you don't go that high. So if you have it set to 350 or 400, it should take about 20 minutes or so. You want to cook the chicken to about 160. And then from there, it'll carry over to 165, which is how chicken should be prepared. I know the recipe does say 145. That's if you're feeling gutsy. It's bone-in chicken. So some people get a little weirded out from bone-in chicken because of the tendons that are in it. So I suggest 160. So as you can see, the wine is almost gone. It's thickened up nicely. Let's move it around so you can see that. Garlic's kind of just soaking up all that nice flavor and it's starting to dissipate. Just a little longer, and then we're going to add our lovely chicken stock to it. You want to plate the stuff? All right, so most of the wine is absorbed, and as you can see, it's thickening up and getting almost kind of syrupy. So we're going to add some ladles of chicken broth. Chicken broth going in. And again, salt, pepper. Build that flavor. And we're also going to add a lemon. Get some nice citrus in there. Now I'm just squeezing half a lemon and I'm putting my hand over it so I can catch all the seeds in there. Because last time I checked, seeds taste bad. So, okay. Just put that in there. That's fine. Okay, so we're going to crank this up again. And again, it's going to simmer down. And when you reduce something like this down with that rich chicken broth and the white wine in there and now the lemon juice, it'll start to thicken up. It'll take a little bit of time. This sauce will probably take us maybe another 5, maybe 10 minutes or so. But ideally, we're just reducing it down very slowly until it eventually thickens up. Then once it thickens up, we can do stuff to it, like add herbs to it, add some butter to it, and it'll be nice. Anybody have any questions? Moving forward here. Moving forward. All right. While the chicken is cooking in the oven and the sauce is reducing, we also have chocolate over here, which is currently melting as we get ready for the next course after this, which is the dessert course. Lovely little dipping station over here, which Chef Kimar will show us. Yep, we got strawberries and marshmallows and pretzels and bananas and just a lot of fun. The only thing missing is 2 glasses of champagne and a hot and horny couple, but so, okay. So for the recipe, I believe calls for unsalted butter. I like to use salted butter. I think it's creamier and it tastes better. We're gonna get our pickled cherry peppers. Now you don't have to add these in. Some people don't like the heat. I personally think it makes the dish and it kind of gives it that Spanish element, you know. These are pickled cherry peppers. They're not really spicy, but they have a little bit of a brine to them, and it goes really nicely with the sauce. So as you can see, this is starting to thicken up now. We're gonna add in these pickled cherry peppers, excuse me. Add some red, some green. Get some color in there. And as this cooks, it'll get that nice briny flavor from the peppers. And that's kind of what we're looking for, that nice kind of like briny, vinegary flavor. Simmering on down. It's getting there, getting there. We just added peppers, so another small pinch of salt, pepper. And as you can see, just like the white wine, it's reducing down. It's getting a little bit thicker. It looks good. This is almost bringing back flashbacks from when I was a cook working in Boston. Okay, we have our butter ready to go. We're gonna put a little bit more lemon in there because I like a lot of acid. It's really up to you. You don't have to put the lemon juice in there. It's just to add lemony and acid to it. And it's really your choice, your preference. Got our potatoes, which are done now. If you're cooking your potatoes at home, I'm assuming they probably just came out of the oven. So nice and cooked, crispy. So sauce is thickening up. It's good. We're gonna, something I haven't done yet, and I strongly encourage everybody at home to do it, is to taste what you're cooking, because how are you gonna know if it's good, especially if you're gonna serve it to someone else? So. All right, so just from tasting that, I can tell it needs salt and pepper. And a little more chicken stock, just because I myself put a few too many peppers, so that like brininess of the pepper is really coming through. So just a little bit more. And now we just reduce. Okay. How's everybody doing at home? Good? No house fires yet? Always a good thing. Has anybody uploaded anything with the QR code yet? No dishes plated? It's okay. Sure, I hope we see some. Be pretty cool. All right, chicken is hopefully getting there. Should be almost done. We have Chef Kimar doing a plate up right now, and he'll bring out the finished product for us in a little bit. We can butter this sauce soon. I'm waiting for this to reduce down just a little bit more and have it thicken up. And then we can put some parsley in it. For parsley, I recommend you use flat leaf parsley. You can certainly use curly leaf. Curly leaf doesn't have a lot of flavor, in my opinion. It's more for show than anything else, more as a garnish. But flat leaf parsley is definitely the way to go on that. Okay, sauce is reducing down. It's almost there. At this point, what I would recommend is if your chicken is almost done, or it's probably got 5 or 10 minutes left in the oven, take it and put it the bottom side down, skin side up. That way you can finish cooking it in the pan and you get all those extra chicken flavor and juices into it and be really, really nice. So this is almost done. We're gonna put some butter in there because cheese and butter makes everything better. At least that's what they say, until you die from a heart attack. And with the butter, we're basically going to, you can either just keep mixing it around, or you can do what I'm about to do and just move it around. Okay, sauce is looking great. I just put the butter in, so salt, pepper again. Hope everybody's doing that at home. Don't be like my mother and not use salt or pepper because it's the worst. Taste, taste, taste. Everybody taste. Oh, nice. Definitely needs a little more salt. And I'm going to put a little bit more butter. And then that's basically the sauce for the chicken al pimentos. So you can take the chicken and you can finish it in the pan. I have a couple plated dishes over here that we just finished. Gonna do a close up on those quickly, and I'll talk about how I chose to plate the dish. We have the nice crispy potatoes fanned out nicely on the bottom. As you can see, they got the nice golden color on it. We put the chicken skin side up because we got that nice golden skin, and that's the presentation side. So you want that facing up, because if you serve that in a restaurant, or you serve that in a van, or you serve it to your lover, you want the good side up, which is that nice skin that we made. We poured the sauce over that. It's kind of hard to see, but the peppers are also on there. You don't want to put too much sauce because if you drown the potatoes, they'll get really soggy. We put just the right amount in there. And then I made a nice little arugula salad, and we put over the top of it. Arugula is just a great for salads, great for garnishes. It's just a great leaf in general to use. But that's essentially the chicken al pimentos. Let's get a nice look at that. That looks great. I hope everybody's at home looks like that. Be very interested to see. Do we have any questions before we move on to next course? Anybody? No questions? Okay, all right. Let's have some really good home cooks at home. It's good. Yeah, yeah, right. Okay, so then if we're okay with the with moving on, we're gonna move on to the dessert course, which is over here with Chef Kimar. Oh, okay, we got some live feeds. That's pretty cool. Put this over here for now. All right, so over here with Chef Kimar, we have, I forget the name of it off the top of my head, apologies. We have the chocolate covered heaven, which according to the recipe is you get a bunch of chocolate. Now, buying chocolate for this, you don't want to buy cheap chocolate. I believe the brand that I bought, and we're not being paid for advertising here, but Lindt was the type of chocolate that we got for this. It's got a really nice melting quality to it. You don't want to buy chocolate that has fake fat or any kind of cheap hydrogenated fat. When you melt it, you want to put it over a double boiler. Now we have this fancy little tool here, which is essentially a little pot that you put containers into and it keeps your sauces warm. But at home, you can take a pot, put a little bit of water in it, and put a bowl over it and melt your chocolate in that bowl. It's probably the best way to go about it. So Chef Kimar, do you want to talk a little bit about what you've got going on over here for dipping?
Sure. So over here, we have some fresh strawberries. You want to make sure you're using fresh strawberries for this one. We also have some marshmallows. Now, you could pretty much dip whatever fruits that you are like, right? So we have also bananas over here. So what we did was peel the bananas, cut it in half, and now we're going to dip the bananas. Now, you don't want to put the sticks through the bananas first, because what's going to happen, the banana is going to fall all the way in. So what you do is take the banana, stick whatever end part you want, right? Right in the syrup, drizzle it around, maybe 3/4 off the banana. Just for a little, right? You want to get that nice and coated. Now, this is what it looks like, right?
Oh, look at that.
Right, nice, right?
I don't know if you can hear it, but everybody in here was like, oh, yum. So
So we're gonna do a next one, right? Banana.
now I will say, when I was in college, I spent some time working with chocolates and confections. And there's one thing I learned is that when you work with chocolate, even if it's white chocolate, you shouldn't add any water of any sort to it. So when you use strawberries, shouldn't have an issue with bananas, but you want to make sure that everything is dry, like bone dry. And the reason for that is because any water that gets mixed into the chocolate will affect the texture of it and how it crystallizes. So it might get a little clumpy. It might have a hard time drying. So you got to keep your chocolate really, really dry. So just remember that chocolate and water are enemies. So we got
that.
and
Nice
with something like this,
marshmallow.
you can dip almost anything. I almost wanted to get some bacon and dip some bacon in there, but then you get like that smoky, salty. Everybody's gonna be Lux. Get that smoky saltiness kind of mixed into the chocolate. But it's really good. It's, you know, if with some dark chocolate, like you get some 80% cocoa chocolate, it gives it like a nice sweet and salty flavor, which is, you know, a lot of people like. Sure. So we got some marshmallows over here. We got some pretzel sticks. After you dip it, you should let it sit for 5 minutes or so. You need, obviously the chocolate needs to harden a little bit or crystallize. It's the actual term for it. You can also speed up crystallization by taking it and putting the items you dipped into the refrigerator. Just keep in mind that sometimes refrigerators leak water, so you don't want to get any water in it or else you will ruin it. That's the same for a lot of things. But can we see some of those items you got?
Sure.
over
So
there, Chef Kimar?
here we have actually one that's already made, which you see we have the marshmallows, the strawberries, the banana, and also the pretzels. And this is what your finished product's gonna look like. Again, it's beautiful, it's easy to make, you know, just taking a little time and making sure that chocolate is melt the right way.
Yeah.
And also giving it that 5 minutes in the refrigerator, right? So something easy, you could do this with the kids, you know, family, if you want to just have a little picnic and you know, get some marshmallow going, all right?
Another good thing to do, and I believe it's on the recipe, is if you take some white chocolate and you melt it down, just so everybody knows, white chocolate's not real chocolate. It doesn't have any cocoa butter in it. It's pretty much just hydrogenated fat, sugar. It's really not all that. I love white chocolate personally, but it's really not real chocolate. But a good thing to do with white chocolate would be if you melted it down, and you did a little drizzle on top of, you took a fork and you did a little drizzle on top of the chocolate items. I would have liked to have shown you that today, but unfortunately we weren't able to source good white chocolate. You can't just use cheap white chocolate. You got to use like really good quality stuff. And it's, I guess because of the pandemic, it's hard to find now or something. I don't know. But yeah, so that's our chocolate dipping station that we got over here. Does anybody have any questions about any of the courses? Or that Cheney question was good. I'm surprised that one came out actually. But any questions at all? Anybody? Chucky Marsh is dipping away over here.
Dipping away.
Dipping away. Anybody have a question about cooking the chicken or the sauce or the chocolate? If I missed anything, I thought I covered most of it pretty well, but. So Kimar, how long have you been working here at the college for?
Well, I've been here for 22 years. I've
Wow.
been at Springfield College. I started yeah, I started there as a pot washer when I first came. Always liked Springfield College. Plus, I was living close by, so it was really convenient for me working here.
Oh, I
you
hear
know?
you. Tell to the people though.
Yeah, and I met a lot of great people here just working, a lot of the facility staff, a lot of the staff members, the teachers, and I just feel like family bond working here at Springfield College. And again, it's a great place. The food is great, and we just like to see, other people come in and experience what we're giving, right, and what we're showing. So it's a good thing.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
So two things. One, I want to thank our Harvest Table partners. We do so much with them, and we couldn't do anything we do on campus without our Harvest Table partners. So a huge thank you to them. Secondly, I don't know if people want to turn on their cameras and show either their dessert or their appetizer or their main course, unless they've consumed all of it.
Oh,
We thought it would be fun to get a screenshot of people's finished products.
ooh, that'd be
So
great.
if we could give everybody a couple of minutes to do that. And also when you come on, if you can be clapping for Kamar and Eric as you're coming on, that would be wonderful for you to show your fabulous appreciation for them.
That'd be quick if they ate it that quick, huh? You're supposed to have the date first and then eat food, but anybody have any finished products? Oh, okay. All right. Wow, look at that. Is that tomato in the middle? What are they?
Oh, wow.
That's the, okay. I got you, the soup.
Mm.
Nancy, that looks
Wow,
great.
that looks
Nice job,
real good.
Nancy. Nancy, are you looking for a job by chance?
good.
Can pay you minimum wage with the occasional half-hour break every other day.
Wow, that's a great job.
That's a good
there.
deal, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Take that. Let's can we see?
Oh,
Awesome.
wow. Very good.
Awesome. Now you guys just got to pick up some Spanish, and then you can go to Barcelona next year. Wow, that looks great. Nice job. Anybody have any other?
So we have one other question.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's.
It's a long one.
Okay.
Wanted to make sure I got it correct. For Airline Chicken, do you just buy a whole chicken and cut it up yourself, or can you ask a butcher in a grocery store or elsewhere?
Okay. Okay. You could definitely ask a butcher. If you walk into a butcher shop and you ask for Airline Chicken, they will definitely know what that is. And if they don't, they need to look for another job. But essentially, Airline Chicken is just chicken breast with the little wing attached to it. That's all it is. And what I did with the whole chicken is you take off the wing part and you just leave the little leg on. But yeah, you could 100% just go to a butcher shop and ask them for Airline Chicken, or you could ask them for bone-in chicken breast. That's another way of asking for Airline Chicken, bone-in chicken breast. Yeah, or if you know, I know some people don't like bones, you could do it boneless too. I just think a dish like this, you want the bone in there because when you do the sauce in the same pan as everything else, excuse me, it just comes out a lot nicer. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Know any good butchers in the area, Kimar?
No, not right now, but Connecticut.
Stop and
definitely.
Shop.
Yeah.
Not bad. Any other questions? Any other pictures? Anybody else send anything else through? We got a nice little platter that Chef Kimar has dipped.
Put together. Just letting these dry. See, these already dried also. So.
Oh wow! Nice. Oh, somebody made the crema. Oh, that makes me happy.
Oh wow!
Are we allowed to know? Yeah, thumbs up.
Man.
There you go.
Wow! Nice.
Awesome. Awesome.
Wow.
Did they make the crema or did they just do sour cream? Interesting to know. Hello, people.
Very nice.
It's awesome, right?
Yeah.
Makes you feel proud. I can go to sleep feeling proud tonight. Thank you, everybody.
Presentation look real good.
It does look good.
Yeah.
It does. If any of these people want a job, just go on Google and type in Springfield College jobs. We'll take you if you have a heartbeat, please. Another question? Microphone. There's the QR code again on the screen. I forget what you do with it, but just look at it. It's nice.
If you want to scan your QR code that's on your screen, and then you can upload your pictures so we can have them of your fabulous meals, that would be outstanding.
Wow.
And again, we have a couple minutes for a few more questions. If you have them for our fabulous chefs, type them on in and we'll get them asked.
Anything you got. You could even ask us questions about our career. I would love to answer anything, almost anything. I would ask me about previous girlfriends. That's a bad subject. Oh wow! These are all live pictures. Cool. Very cool. Okay. Any questions? No. Kimar's over here dipping away. I wish you guys were here. We have like a dozen bananas dipped in chocolate. Like, it'd be a really good Valentine's Day dinner over here. In fact, the camera crew is going to eat great.
Oh, that's good. Good presentation.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have anything else. If yeah.
So to wrap up, I want to finish by again thanking Jasmine and Maria, and also our Harvest Table friends and Brian Shregnick, class of '99, and his team that have done our audio and visual for us, and Damon Markowitz from our media services area, who has been here taking pictures. We have really enjoyed spending this evening with you, and we hope the next time we can see you, it is in person. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you for supporting our alma mater, and let's stay in touch.